All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the newest episode of the New Year's Six podcast. We are in week 0. We are finally here. We made it through the long off season and all the terrible, horrible time that it takes to get from January to August. But we are here, and we are back with our in-depth preview and prediction videos. So starting off with week 0, we have our kickoff game at noon. Florida State and Georgia Tech head over to Ireland for conference matchup, and all eyes on both those programs as they are the first game of the 2024 college football season. So I'm gonna go team by team, just do a little keys to the game, what to look for, what's not working, etc. Then at the end, I'm gonna do a final score prediction. So easy enough. But yeah, really looking forward to this one. Rooting for Georgia Tech, obviously. Can't see Florida State start off 1-0, but let's give everyone a fair shake. So, keys to the game here. Let's start off with Florida State. The Jordan Travis era at Florida State is over. He has gone on. We have DJ Uiagalelei now coming in from Oregon State via Clemson first. Which DJU shows up at quarterback? Big question mark there. I know he is a often criticized and often analyzed quarterback, but there are many times where he can be serviceable. He can be good enough for their team to win games. He's definitely lost some games for Oregon State and for Clemson over the years, but he can be good enough, for Florida State should the right situation arise. Is he going to be good enough for them in Ireland? Is he going to be good enough for them at Georgia, versus Georgia Tech? Has Florida State redesigned an offense around a quarterback with a different skill set than what they've been used to the last couple of years? Time will tell. But if bad DJU shows up, Florida State's in for a long day. If good enough or serviceable or maybe improved DJU shows up, Florida State runs away with this. On the defensive side of the ball, just making sure that Florida State continues to be good on third down. Over the course of last year, Florida State ended their third down defense ended as the number 6 one in all of college football. So clear to say that Florida State held strong, created opportunities for themselves, whether that's on first and second down, but it made it where third down was very hard for opponents to get momentum on them. Can they continue to do that? Can they continue to be defensively stout any way that you look at it and create moments and opportunities for themselves that force their opponent to punt or take field goals? But if they continue to maintain at that level, Florida State's going to be all right. Now, on the opposite side of third down, Florida State's offense on third down was not fantastic. It ended up last year being the 92nd best offense on third down. So, just inside of the top 100, which is not what you're expecting if you're a top 10 program or conference champion. You want that to see you want to see that increased. So, if I'm Florida State, how do I get my offense this year to be better on third down? Maybe it is the change of quarterback and emphasizing more run in short plays, in chunk plays, versus going through the air with the plethora of receivers that they had that are now gone. What is Florida State going to look like on third down this year? If they are better, they'll keep those drives alive that maybe they didn't have, they didn't have to on the past. If they're worse on third down on offense, it's going to be a long day. So Florida State's going to win and lose this game on third down, whether it's the pressure created by the defense or the situations created by the offense. So for Florida State, third down is key, and the performance of their new quarterback is going to be equally as important. So let's go to the Georgia Tech side of things. So how does that look for them? First thing I want to see is, what does the depth at defensive line look like for Georgia Tech this year? So it's a pretty experienced defensive line with quite a few players coming back, but they do bring a couple interesting transfers. They bring in Romello Height is the big one. He comes in from USC, I believe. So from that point of view, from that perspective, it would be great to see if he's able to step up in this type of environment and make it where there's a consistent threat on the defensive line. If we look at if we look at Georgia Tech's rush defense last year, it was one of the worst in the country. So if by bringing in outside, body who can apply pressure and live up to those expectations, and just getting that rushing defense for Georgia Tech to like an average level, it'll create so many more options and so many more opportunities for this Georgia Tech defense and this team over the course of the game. And I know that skips it a little bit, but just going down a little further, while Florida State wins and loses this game on third down, Georgia Tech wins and loses this game by their rushing attack. And just to add context for Florida State, they'll have a 92nd. They have the 92nd best third down offense. Georgia Tech had the 105th best third down defense. One of those things is going to give. So it does give Florida State a chance to improve in that environment. Georgia Tech not a slouch on third down offense, so 39th in the country versus Florida State's 6th. So fun matchups on third down, but much more important for Florida State to be good at those than for Georgia Tech. On the Georgia Tech side of things, running the ball is going to be the best and worst thing that happens to them. They were the 12th best rushing attack in all of college football last year. You have Jamal Haynes back there, as a feature back that can do a lot of damage for this team. Haynes King is a mobile quarterback and someone that can scramble out and run off for 10 or 15. So I imagine, utilizing both of those rushing threats is going to keep this ball moving, especially if you are on offense and you want those longer drives that wear FSU out. Killing that clock and keeping FSU's defense on their toes and active and running is going to pay dividends over the course of this game. So, when I'm Georgia Tech, I'm just going to keep pounding the ball. FSU was average on attacking the rush last year. They were 70th, so it's not exactly a weakness or a strength. It's just kind of an existence. Now, the opposite side is going to be what Georgia Tech does with their rushing defense, which was one of the worst in the country last year. Is that going to step up? I think the transfers they bring in, I think the experience that they have, it should take a step. If it doesn't, this is going to be a long day for Georgia Tech, where they're just run over. Now they're going against an FSU team that last year finished 76th, in rushing, in rushing offense, which would put them below the average mark. Now, different offense, a little bit more pass heavy last year. Do they shift to a more run heavy offense? And if so, how does Georgia Tech defend it? So a lot of ifs, ands, and buts right now, a lot of items up in the air. We're not going to know, or we're not going to see a lot of these things until it's time for these teams to play each other. But as far as I'm concerned, FSU, it's going to come down to the play of their third down. For Georgia Tech, it's going to be how they run the ball and how they stop the run. So those are the main things I want to look for from both of those teams. So with that in mind, I am going to pull up my final score prediction. So as a reminder, think about who you want to win, who you think is going to win, everything along those lines. If you're using betting options, I think Florida State's like an 11-point favorite, 10-point favorite, something along those lines. So with that, my final score prediction is going to be FSU 34, Georgia Tech 31. And so I believe that will have FSU covering. I think it looked like 10.5. It's like 55 something. So the total is going to be around that. But yeah, I think Florida State takes care of business, wins by a couple score. If this was in Atlanta, it might shift a little bit more towards Georgia Tech side. If it was in Tallahassee, FSU probably wins by a bigger margin. But that's what's gonna, that's what I think is gonna happen in Ireland this weekend. So, what are your thoughts? Who do you think is gonna win? Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But thanks for tuning in. Really looking forward to the start of this season. Tune in to the next video where I will be going over Nevada versus SMU. So another fun one on our hands in week 0. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, and be looking forward to the start of the season